What is up, guys? We are here for Thursday's Thoughts. You know what it is. And today, that's kind of exactly what I want to talk about. I want to talk about our thoughts, man, and how they can affect our daily lives. For myself, my thoughts can be one of two things. They can either be my best friend and motivator, or they can be my worst enemy. And when I think about thoughts, a lot of stuff comes into my mind, like rational thoughts, intrusive thoughts, situational fear thoughts. But really, I'd like to just boil them down to nuisances. And when we deal with thoughts that are intrusive and judgmental and kind of going against the normal trajectory of the path that we're on, those tend to cause conflict. And for myself, when things start to go good, my mind tends to want to create a problem. I know my brain works a little bit differently than other people's, but I don't think that's so uncommon. Maybe the way it presents itself is a little different from case to case, but I don't think having those intrusive thoughts is all that uncommon. And for me, it wants to attack the things that are most important. Excuse me. I've worked a long time and a lot of years getting control of some of my thoughts, and I've gotten very good at it. So my mind knows what things it can get to me at and what things it can't get to me at. And the things that it can get to me at, it attaches to. And for a long time, how can I portray this? So dealing with OCD and anxiety and the thoughts that come along with them, for a long time I was able to build up this self-concept and self-worth and self-image of confidence, and to know that those thoughts are irrational thoughts and I'm not even going to address them and move forward and not even give them an extra second of my headspace. And I got to a point where I could really kind of almost box my OCD out and kind of push out all those intrusive thoughts. And it's not that they weren't there, and it's not that that at times my brain didn't try to create problems. I just felt with the elements that are in my life, I have decent control over, and these thoughts are not going to affect me in the way that they're intending to. And that went good for a while. And there are days where, you know, you give in a little bit more to the OCD and the rituals, and then there's other days where you fight it, and but at the end of the day, you tend to kind of feel the same, and always a lot better when you've pushed through some of those impulsions. But so I was going a long time where I felt really, really good about my OCD and my anxieties and any type of intrusive thought. I was handling them well, and then, you know, my daughter was born, which in certain ways has made me vulnerable again. And I do worry about her a lot more than I worry about myself. And my brain recognized that, and it didn't take it long to start to try to work its anxieties on my mind and fixate them on my daughter, because it knows that my OCD knows that I will I will respond to that. And my daughter is so new. So she's only 9 months old. So I haven't had a lot of experience dealing with intrusive thoughts and or OCD type rituals that involve her. So that's been something that's been, kind of happening lately. It's been something that I have been made aware of, and that's kind of why I went this direction with this Thursday's Thoughts, because I want to talk a little bit about how powerful the mind really is. And it can be super powerful and bother us with OCDs and anxieties and intrusive thoughts, and really become a little bit of a nuisance and a burden. But it also can do things on the other end, and you really can take control of your thoughts again if you're aware enough to be able to notice when maybe some of these intrusive thoughts are starting to build. I'm kind of going on a little bit of a rant here, and some of it might not make sense, but some of it you can probably relate to some of the anxieties you might deal with in your life. But what I'm trying to get to is that our brains are very, very powerful, and if we get to a place where we can decide that, especially people that deal with OCD or anxiety and depression, if we can get to a place where we understand that some of the thoughts and the emotions that we have, not that they aren't justified, but they're a little bit irrational, and they live by themselves. They exist as anxiety and issues, and they like to attach themselves to things in our life that we find important. That way it can stay connected to us as we move throughout our day. So it's really important to be able to recognize that and be able to just be strong enough, because you can train your mind into doing what you want it to do. And we just have to continue to kind of fight that fight. There are days where I go through the day, and at the end of the day I'm sitting doing some schoolwork, or I'm talking with my girlfriend, or playing with the baby, and I realize, wow, my anxieties were really in control today. Or, wow, today was a really good day where I didn't have a lot of that negative self-talk. And those days happen more often than not because I'm done with the bullshit. A lot of times I get kind of fed up with my anxieties and the irrational nature of them, and I say enough is enough. But that's a difficult thing to do. Our anxieties and our fears, they're real to us, as irrational as they are to other people who maybe don't experience obsessive compulsive disorder, or they don't have anxiety disorders to that degree. Those emotions we feel, they're real to us. So getting yourself and exercising your brain in a way that can work as a soldier for you in times where maybe your anxiety or your obsessive compulsive thoughts are at its peak. If you can train your brain to fight for you, you'll be ahead of the game. And that's kind of what I'm doing again. I'm retraining my brain to recognize those irrational thoughts and move past them so seamlessly that those irrational thoughts, they don't even get addressed, they don't get recognition, they don't get acknowledged. You just see them and move past them. But that's a skill. That's a skill that needs to be developed, because anybody with OCD or anxiety will tell you the physical anxiety and stress that comes over you during one of these rituals or during a stressful episode. They can overpower any of your thinking pretty quickly. But if you train your brain to work for you, you can really kind of push through a lot of that, and it eventually gets easier. So I don't even know. I'll have to watch this back to see if any of those dots even connect. For me, it's really real for me. It's a constant, tug of war, and I'd have to say in this half of my life, I've been winning. A lot of times in my younger years, when I was, less educated on everything and less mature, it really kind of ran wild over me. And in the better half of this part of my life, I've been getting really good control of it. And recently, with more responsibility and more things going on in my life that have significance, real significance, my anxiety and my obsessive compulsive disorder has kind of ramped up again and found extra ammo, things it can attack that I haven't already, bitch slapped it away from. So we gotta keep ducking and moving, keep throwing shots, because this is our lives. This is something I have to tell myself a lot. Is this is my life, and if I don't get control of these anxieties, nobody else is going to. And if I don't get control of them, then this is no longer my life. This is anxiety's life. This is OCD's life, because everything we do is to comply with them and to quiet them down. So, it's my advice, it's my opinion. I urge you to work on your anxieties, work on your compulsions, work on that negative self-talk, because if you attack it before it gets strong, it may not become a problem. And I know there's different factors that go with other people, but I just want to urge everybody to remember how strong the power of our mind is, and to remember that you're in control, that these thoughts and anxieties are, for myself, for the most part, irrational. And take back control, because you've done it before, you can do it again. This is a fight that you just have to constantly be on your toes about and push through. So I hope you guys have a good day. It's still pretty early here. I think I'll jump on and get some writing done, and I'll catch you guys soon, man. Love ya.